Welcome to the D Weaver Art channel here on YouTube. In this video, I'd like to share with you all a process in which I took a small study, a field study done in plein air outdoors, and how I took this small painting and enlarged it to a 30 by 24. So I hope this video be very informative to you and inspire you to get out and paint in plein air, and also take those plein air studies or color studies that you do in plein air, which are very small, and enlarge them to a larger paintings. Here is the painting or the color study done in plein air of the famed studio located in North Alabama in the city of Muscle Shoals. And this was done on a 8 by 10 stretch canvas, and of course I work with acrylics. And in the process of me doing it, or let's put it this way, the weather conditions were very muggy and hot, and also I had to work pretty quickly because I believe at that time I wasn't working with the slow dry medium, and so I had to work really quick. So at that time I was actually putting my paints out fresh and painting and using the paint as I go. But now, since I understood and learned that there was a medium to keep it from drying quickly, because as most of you all know, acrylic is water-based paint and it dries pretty quickly. So when it's really hot and dry and a little bit of wind, it dries even more quickly. Also too, I like for you all that if you are new to this channel, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and also hit the notification bell. By doing that, you will receive instant notifications whenever I upload new content. Thank you for watching and enjoy. Okay, before I get started into the process, I want to share with you all my color palette, which is a stay wet palette with some cloth underneath that's been dampened by water. And this here paper is parchment paper. This helps it from tearing apart due to the fact of the moisture underneath, and also enables me to be able to mix my paints and put some friction to it without it tearing. Also keeps my from going into the cloth and ruining it. So that's what I got as a barrier, and also to keep the paint where it can still stay wet because it's slightly porous but strong enough to be able to withstand the friction and moving of paint by the paintbrush and also the palette. Now this color palette has been altered because I normally do not split vertically on this side my colors here, and on this side to the right colors here. Usually I put these colors that on to my left at the very top, going across from white to the yellow, darker yellow, and then I put these colors at the very bottom going across here. But I changed it up this time. So starting from left going down, then off to my right going up and going down. This is titanium white, cadmium yellow light, and yellow ochre. Now over to the right side at the top, I have cadmium red medium. In the middle, this blue is phthalo-cyanine blue, and then burnt sienna. Burnt sienna looks more close to raw sienna, maybe raw sienna or burnt sienna, but that's what that brown color is. And I will use these colors to get all my other colors onto the canvas. I have a bottle of water that's in this spray bottle, and I use this to wet my canvas down. I do this also too when I go outdoors and paint. I'm here in the studio demonstrating my process. So I got this spray bottle, set the setting for mist, and I just spray the spray bottle. And I've already done it. I just spray I spray the canvas with the spray bottle, and I just spray it all over, and it kind of just enough to get it kind of damp. Okay, now I'm gonna take this tube, put a little bit on, straight on out of the tube, and apply the yellow ochre to the canvas. Just enough to get it on there. Just enough there. That should be enough there, possibly, to kind of just to get the paint on. Then I'm gonna take my brush a little bit more. I'm gonna wet a little bit more with some water, the canvas, and just pull the paint around. Just pull the paint. Push the paint around just to get the surface. Where it's kind of thick at, I just put a little bit more water. Yeah, now that's getting it moving a little bit more. Alright, so right now I drew in some of this here, just blocking in my darts. My darkest darts here. I'll go over this charcoal drawing with paint. I normally would paint this part in with paint, some monochromatic, but I'm gonna do that next. Before I start adding color to it. This part, there's a portion where it's lighter. This is darker. This is darker. A bit of this is dark at the top. This line is gone. That line is all gone there. All right, now it's time to mix my colors for the roof and the building. I'm gonna start with the shade colors on the side of the building. I'm gonna take some burnt umber or raw umber, raw sienna. I think this is raw sienna. Take some of that, quite a bit of it, put it away, by the way. And a little bit of blue. Mix it. And some red. Let's just see what we get here. Gonna mix a little bit of that up there. And a little bit some white. Some more of that, a little bit more blue. Taking my palette knife. Normally I don't do this. I normally work with my brush and mix the color up. It's gonna be kind of dark there. And a little bit of white. Yeah, that's looking better there. I like that right there. Trying to mix a little bit more of that. It's a color pal I'm working on. Kind of start me out a muted brown. Almost like a gray. Put a little bit of red in that and some blue in that. Like that. Kind of like for under, bit of the under first layer. Let's see, I'm just gonna put that onto it. Here's a big brush here. Block it in. That's all we're doing here, block it in. Using this color. I don't think I might have mixed enough, but it's going to cause some variation there in the in this scene. It's going to be kind of broken up. There's going to be variations of lighter values of this color in here. I'm going to just go back to my method I use when I'm out in plein air. I just load and mix with my brush and just create a pile here. And let's see, that's too light, so we're going to put a little bit more brown in it. And a little bit more blue. Back. Using a big brush at the beginning, all I'm doing is just blocking in. Details will be added later. Mixed in some cadmium yellow light and some titanium white, just a little bit of that, and some raw sienna. Just blocking in, still in the block in phase. Building up color, painting shapes. It's the first layer. I just took some burnt sienna and just straight from the tube, adding it the pure saturation of that color to the sides of the pillars. I'm going to run that across the top. to put the green in for the foliage, the grass. So we know if we take cad yellow and some phthalo blue, we automatically get green. I'm gonna warm this green with some yellow ochre, and it's gonna all right, everyone. I've already pre-mixed my grays by taking cad red, believe it or not, cad red with some phthalo blue and a equal amount, just a little bit of that, and an equal amount of both cad red medium and phthalo blue. Of course, when you mix those two, you get violet. So from that, you use raw umber, which is a very dark brown, which neutralizes the cools and warm colors of the red and the blue. It neutralizes it, makes it more gray in appearance. If I add more phthalo blue, it's a cooler gray. If I add more of the raw umber, it makes it more of a warmer gray. With that being said, then I add a whole lot more white to make a nice medium or dark gray. And in this case, we want to make a medium to a light gray. So what I've done prior to, you didn't see what I did, but what I did, I took a straight out of the tube titanium white and just applied it to the canvas just like that. So now I'm fixing to add the color. I got a big, large flat brush. This is my largest flat brush that I got here. And I'm going to just add it to it. And it's going to intermix with the white. Edges, just kind of be a little careful with it. If not, we go over it and we just paint over it. But just put it and see how that just enter in. And it kind of gives it a little bit more appeal to the eyes. Intermixing there. I don't want to do too much, but just kind of to be able to pull the paint around. You just come up to the edge, kind of twist your brush right up to the edge. Just kind of almost paint around there. You may have to go back over it and redefine the edges a little bit more, but just kind of turn the brush as you're going. A little bit more water to the brush, not too much because you won't want it to run. As you can see, the little bubbles pop up there. Just to kind of move the paint around. This is like the first pass, and we're gonna go over it again. And some of this color is gonna show through on the second pass or the second layer. And straight out of the tube with some yellow ochre, just barely touching some areas. And I think there's some out there. And the brush, still using a large brush, just blocking in, covering the surface, and kind of fairly damp a little bit, so we kind of push the paint around. I'm just gonna warm this up. And get this beautiful effect with the pavement. Yeah, it looks abstract right now, but you'll see. Just pushing this around, neutralizing the colors a little bit. Use a palette knife if I can find, laid it down. I'm trying to look for it. There it is. Gotta clean it off. Still keeping that motion. And straight out of the tube with some yellow ochre. Just barely touching some areas. I think there's some out there. In the brush, still using a large brush, just blocking in, covering the surface, and kind of fairly damp a little bit, so we kind of push the paint around. I'm just gonna warm this up. And get this beautiful effect with the pavement. Yeah, it looks abstract right now, but you'll see what you'll see. Just pushing this around, neutralizing the colors a little bit.